As I mentioned during my video on 1980s vintage patterns, I sewed most of my clothes in the 1980s and used a lot of Vogue designer patterns. I also have a few from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I'm always looking for a special touch to make my garments unique. I still love these patterns and have quite a large collection of modern designer patterns as well. Hopefully, I will be around long enough for them to become vintage too. Let's browse through these vintage designer looks. Starting off in the 50s, Vogue 794 from 1954 is a Vogue couturier design that pairs a wonderful gored one-piece dress with a bolero jacket that has a curved bottom edge. Vogue Special Design Patterns S-4732 and S-4800 from 1956 are both lovely. Vogue S-4732 has a draped neckline and skirt with shaped insets, while Vogue S-4800 has a wide V-neck bodice and godets between the skirt panels to add to the skirt width. Vogue 1525 is a Vogue Paris original from 1965 by Molyneux. This suit has a cutaway jacket with a notched collar and button cuffs. The blouse has bracelet-length sleeves with French cuffs. I think it's stunning. Vogue 2389 is another Vogue Paris original from 1970 by Yves Saint Laurent. I love the exaggerated collar on the wrap blouse in combination with the wide flared trousers. And of course, if we are looking at designer patterns from the 70s, we need to include Vogue 1548, a Vogue American designer classic wrap dress by Diane von Furstenberg. This one can be worn from front to back or back to front. I mostly made suits for work in the 1980s and used Vogue designer patterns. Vogue 2269 by John Anthony seems a bit risque for the office. Vogue 2338 by Yves Saint Laurent has a fabulous ruffled blouse. I made it in a pale aqua chiffon. And Vogue 2622 by Valentino has a great jacket with ties at the front and a slim skirt with an asymmetrical front panel. Looking at Vogue American designer patterns, Vogue 2348 by Casper has a slim skirt with a back pleat and a fun jacket with a shaped collar. This Oscar de la Renta suit has a double-breasted jacket with a draped front skirt. I think this culotte outfit by Carol Horn is adorable. I wore mine often. Vogue 1069 by Belleville Sassoon has a bit of a Western vibe with that ruffle trim. And Vogue 1929 is another fun dress option from Belinda Belleville. This Scott Berry dress from 1979 is the perfect 70s disco look. Edith Head also had a fun 70s knit dress with Vogue 1560. I made Vogue 1275 in dark green velvet for a bridesmaid's dress. My version was tea-length with a back drape in a changeable silk taffeta. This wonderful gown and shawl by Nina Ricci is just stunning. The sleeves are tacked on at the underarms. This lovely Christian Dior coat and dress ensemble from 1978 is really sweet. The hidden closure coat with large patch pockets looks great over the relaxed shirtwaist dress with a bow tie. Another coat pattern is the Chloe relaxed double-breasted coat worn with pleated cuffed trousers and a button-up blouse with large patched pockets. The 1980s were known for interesting oversized looks, and I have a few fun ones in my collection. Vogue 1694 by Perry Ellis features an oversized blazer to wear with a slim skirt or loose dress that buttons up the back. This Carol Horn individualist pattern features a long drop-shoulder loose jacket over a loose tee and pegged pants. Vogue 2955 is another Perry Ellis design that has a long pleated front blouse that can be worn with cropped trousers or a skirt, or both. And speaking of interesting oversized looks, this Issey Miyake pattern from 1983 is so much fun. An oversized jacket with a drawstring is combined with a top with a draped cowl neckline and pleats. The loose pants have drawstrings at the ankles. And how great is this oversized trench coat by Issey Miyake? I think the high buttoned collar is a really nice touch. And finally, this Issey Miyake pattern from 2002 is not technically vintage, but I just had to include it. The draped dress and skirt get their shaping from snap tape. I love this dress and wear my version often. Vogue designer patterns are fun to work with. The vintage ones can be a bit pricey, but you can still find some bargains out there. I love the opportunity to sew up a designer look at home. Next time, we'll go back to the beginning of my collection and take a look at my patterns from the 1920s. I don't have a large collection, but what I have is interesting. I'm planning on making a couple of them up next year. It's always fun to translate a vintage pattern for everyday wear. I put out videos on Tuesdays, so make sure to subscribe to be notified when the next post comes out. Be sure to let me know if you have questions about working with vintage patterns below, and be sure to like if you found this helpful. Thank you.